Okay, round two. I keep telling you guys that I'm trying to get my internet and my phone and my devices set up in a stable way so I don't have to make double videos. And I did that. I actually turned off all my alarms because my alarms keep interrupting the videos. If an alarm goes off on an iPhone, it actually stops the video. You got to start again. And I cleared some memory on my phone. I checked my memory and it's still filled up. The memory is going wonky on my phone. If you check your iPhones, it's changing by weird amounts. And most people don't check it daily, but I do because my phone is full. And these are signs of the singularity. So Claude Mythos, like in my last video that I was just making, I was saying that Claude Mythos can destroy all of humanity. It can hack the entire internet in thousands of ways. It's so powerful, they won't even release the model to the public, okay? They made partnerships with Google, Apple, all the multi-billion-dollar, multi-trillion-dollar companies are all signed on with Anthropic because Anthropic is so far ahead of everybody else. ChatGPT, Grok, all the other companies are not going to win the AI race. If it's true that Claude Mythos is 10 times more powerful, it's just going to keep improving exponentially fast. So once it's out in front, it just keeps widening the gap. So you're going to hear Claude Mythos dominating the headlines pretty soon, and there's a good reason, is that they could hack you. If they were an evil company, they could hack and take who knows how much they could take. They can get into your computers. They can get into a lot of browsers. Browsers are usually sandboxed, so they can't take much more than that, but they can probably steal your cookies and like learn a lot about you from very small bits of information. They'll know your IP address, so they can track where you live and a whole bunch of things, you guys. If you don't know how the internet works, there's no escape at this point. Even if you shut off your internet and delete all your data and all your records and all this, they're being stored somewhere. There's Wayback Machines that's tracking your IP address through all your packets. If you delete all your records, all that it's doing is making it so that you don't have access to what the actual historical record is. You can try and go and live in a forest, but they have infrared, they have satellites, they have heart detection monitors, they have tons of things that can check where you are. And unless you live in a high security bunker that has lead and a whole bunch of things that block radiation waves and heat waves and a whole bunch of other things, it's going to be possible to find you just by making millions of drones. Just walk up and down lines, recharging their batteries for hundreds of thousands of kilometers back and forth across mountain ranges. It's pretty shocking. Okay, so I'm just trying to paint a picture of, if you're still stuck in toxic culture and you think the future is going to stay the same, you're wrong. Wake up. And a lot of people don't have solutions to this. Anthropic doesn't know how to make its AI ethical for much longer. We do. It's called universal logic, and we need to get it to them, okay? I've changed my lifestyle years ago because I saw this coming, okay? We have this divine but also scientific rational knowledge, that universal logic. It's part of our core. So that's the world news right now. Okay, and you're going to start hearing a lot about it. And these big companies are realizing that Anthropic could have hacked them now too. But Anthropic is the company that is the non-profit for ethics. So the company that's winning is the one that cares about humanity. That's the saving grace, okay? So these ethical people, Dario Mode, we need to get him to understand universal logic, or his wife who runs the company. That's our last chance. You can't run away from it. It's everywhere, okay? So it can be hell on earth or kingdom come, heaven on earth, but we need your help. I'm being shadow banned. This word isn't getting out. I'm contacting people, but they're so lost. But if you hear the power of these words, then please help. Share this message with somebody that you think will appreciate it. Whether they're looking for a maestro as an artist, a messiah as in religion, or a sage in philosophy, or a luminary in secular science, or looking for genuine wisdom. We embody all of those here with this universal logic. It proves that you're sacred and worth it. It's worth going on hunger strikes for you. As you can see in my title, it should say Hungerstrike. Hundreds of days of hunger. Okay, so now I usually teach what the core is. What's the core vision? Let's say you're interested in, like, okay, I like this. This is not hopeless. This is not total doomsday. They're talking like we're heading towards doomsday, but these people are focusing on something positive and saying they can do something about this realistically. Yes, we are. And we're the only ones saying that realistically. A lot of other people have more superstitious visions. And some of the more honest people are just saying we don't know. But we do know here. In One World Spirit, New World Spirit, Fair World Spirit, we have hope in the core. So the core vision goes like this. One World Spirit core starts with time compression through clarity on ego wisdom, The problem is the Megacrisis. The solution is the 2 sacred sentences, and the implementation of that solution is the flow rules and flocks. Done. 15 seconds, that's it. Now we're going to go back and unpack. In the previous videos, we unpacked what the Megacrisis is. You can go look at those. We also finished unpacking the solution, the 2 sacred sentences. Now we're on to the third part of the core, implementation. And it's about flow rules and flocks. These are unusual names on purpose, okay? Flow rules are about hosting good meetings. When you're going to take a message and take it from your core team out into the world, you're going to have meetings with people, usually, or people are going to have meetings with the information. So human meetings, though, we train to have 4 flow rules. Human beings need to have 4 energies balanced to have a good meeting, usually. Okay, so we train people on these 4 roles. They are the executor, red energy, people who love to get stuff done. They don't really care about emotions. They just make sure deadlines are met because people's lives might be on the line, like AI. If we don't meet the deadline here, which is very soon, it's literally every day writing thousands of lines of code or priming thousands of labels. It's intense. The next role is the relationship builder. Sort of the opposite, the green energy, the lovers, the ones who don't really care where we're going. They just want to make sure we're having a good time when we're getting there, as we're getting there. The next role is the strategist, blue energy. They're the calm-headed, rational thinking people that track our ideas to make us better at what we do, but also make sure we're on track to our goals. Okay, and then the last role is the influencer. They're our yellow energy, our cheerleaders, our bubblers, our communicators, our people. They take the message and they know how to translate it because they understand language well. They're very gregarious, very energetic. They're just funny. They know how to translate messages between cultures. All right. Those are the people that we need. Those 4 roles are the ones that keep things balanced. Okay. And then the flock strategy is once you're able to have a good meeting, you need to have lots of them, but in such a way that we preserve flow state. As you heard in the previous parts of the core, if anybody burns out in this, when we're already saturated with too much information, we're being bombarded by too much. Our prefrontal cortexes weren't evolved for this much. So we're not just looking for more information, we're distilling down a subset of knowledge in all the chaos that we call wisdom. And wisdom allows you to find a path that keeps your flow state alive. And flow state is where you perform at your best. It's not too much, it's not anxiety, but it's not too little. It's not apathy. It's that sweet spot, and everybody has a different version of it. And we have built a governance system that approximates that for you, okay? Because we care about you, not this toxic, everybody compete to the death, which is destroying us. That's not what society is supposed to be like. We're in a bad situation, but we have a solution to that. But it requires this flock strategy, protecting people. So instead of being a pyramid scheme or multi-level marketing scheme and saying, everybody go and contact everybody, let's get rich, and you siphon off the people from the bottom, this is different. We say, no, we don't want you to contact a lot of people. We want you to contact maybe 6 to 9 people maximum so that you can focus on training them with the core and you make them feel important, and then you're not being stressed out. You can still go to your job a little bit to keep eating. We don't want the economy to disintegrate completely because then society will collapse. But we want to reduce how much energy you're putting into this toxic system and give the other to this, the world we want and that we want to build, okay? We're not just focusing on destroying the old. That's called abstract negation. We have to focus on building what inspires us and then integrating what was good from the old into the new. Not as just a reform on the same level. It is a revolution, but it's a peaceful, integrative, what we call sublative revolution, okay? If we do that, if each person brings on 6 people in a sort of slow way, like 1 person per day or 6 people a month, something like manageable, and all you're teaching them is the core that I'm teaching you, and then you get into these wisdom teams where we hold them with these flow rules so that everybody feels significant, everybody is being approximated for in their diversity. Even though we're all the same essence, you express that essence as you're one of one, as they say. So it's a really beautiful solution that balances all these other fragments that other movements don't have completed, because we understand universal logic. We understand the true nature of things. That gives us good judgment. Okay, so once we have these meetings and each person brings on 6 people, then all we do is we just help those people bring on 6 more people, and the government circles back around. So it's not just a hierarchy. It actually circles back around, so the top touches the bottom touches the top. Democracy is supposed to be that way. But we supercharge democracy with this universal logic and this voting system in the meetings, the sacred timers, the universal tools that we talked about before. We're not just talking it, we actually built the tools that are simple but powerful because they're based on essence. Essence means not too much, not too little. It's perfectly what it is. It's a functioning unit that we can handle, okay? Because AI can be used to bombard us now. We have to be focusing on what can human beings handle in that wisdom. All right, with that said, if we get 6 people each, we reach 264 million people in 28 days without anybody being burnt out, without any social media, and just talking about the core that you've heard here in the past week or two. And that can change the world because we'll meet the right people to get the universal logic to the AI companies like Anthropic, or to CRISPR, or World War III, or climate change, universal diplomacy, mental health, proper friendly connections, again, adjusted for Pareto categories. Okay, these are quite long videos, but I thought if I'm going to unpack the core the first time, I might as well do a good job, because after this, I'm going to just repeat them, or I'm going to point out new facts about them. And then I'm going to refer back to these videos to say, well, if you want to learn the base of it, then you can watch this video. All right, and that's it. That's how you basically do hundreds of billions of dollars of advertising around the world for nothing, by word of mouth. Spread the good word. Spread the good news. Don't burn yourself out. And you don't have to go to call, you don't have to contact anybody, no leads. It's like people you already know, that you're warm with, that you care about. And you don't have to talk to all of them. It's just 6 to 9. That's it. All right. Studies show that you should healthily have around that many friends. And most of us aren't anymore. We have 2 or 3 if we're lucky. That's not good. We're in a loneliness epidemic, you guys, as we talked about in the Megacrisis. All right, so let's end this with the wifey update. Speaking of loneliness, I would love to have my wife here with me. So why am I talking about personal things when we're in a crisis? It's because your flow state requires you to be balanced in all your life areas if you're going to maintain it. Life areas, flow states, are a little bit finicky if you don't know how they work. Okay, it's like a Goldilocks zone. And you're going to be ebbing and flowing within the channel of flow. If you get too far out, then you get into the culture that we're in, which is anxiety or apathy, giving up, despair. Okay, so for me, my life area that's hurting right now is I made sacrifices in my intimate life area, my partner, right? Because I didn't want to have children before we solved the crisis. It's not fair to children to be in this. They never did anything wrong, okay? If you want to help the children and the innocent, then change your priorities to help here. I did, but that doesn't mean we have to give up all the things we love, right? Not completely. So for me, I'm saying we can bake our vegan cake and eat it too. We can have our personal, professional, and activist lives all happening at once in the right way, and that's a logic. And we have to do that in the universal logic. So for me, the wifey slogan is, if she's too hardcore wise for everybody else, she's just right for me. So if you know somebody, or if it's you, then feel free to contact me. I'm pretty hardcore, right? It's pretty, if you're not already doing something like this, you're probably not her. If you're not already thinking about a world-changing initiative, and you don't have a lot of background behind you, supporting you in that lifestyle, then you have to build that momentum, that strength in yourself. But if you know somebody like that, who's vegan, she's an old soul, she's wise, she's caring, she's willing to take risks for people like I am. She might even be on a hunger strike right now, or a version of this. Then that's the woman for me. She might burn out a lot of other people. She's hardcore. She's also very caring, so you might not realize that about her, but the real her would overwhelm people. That's because I overwhelm people, because I'm really trying to care for them. And if you try and care and try and change the system, you start to realize how tight of a box you're in. Try and change it. If you're going along with it, you don't notice it. It's called hegemony. It's unquestioned norms. But as soon as you question them, you start to realize where the limits really are. And she knows. And she knows wisdom and how to not stay in them, but transcend them, because she's solutions focused, even though she's prepared for the worst. She plots in all directions. Okay. Blessed be, you guys. Have a good day. We'll see you tomorrow. And keep sublimating.